it's time! Amazon Prime Day and all the sales are here in July. We're gonna take a look at the best CPU to buy in July 2025 for both gaming and productivity. Welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. We're gonna look at the massive price cuts by both Intel and Ryzen as they massively compete for your dollar. We'll also go through all the sales. We'll go through the best CPUs in every single category. Should you buy now or should you be waiting maybe even a Black Friday? If you get value out of this video, please give a like as it makes a huge difference to the channel, and of course subscribe for more cool PC content. Let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by Fanttik and their E2 Ultra Precision Screwdriver Kit. Perfect for PC builds, the E2 Ultra packs 50 magnetic S2 steel bits in a pop-up storage tower. Made from durable aluminum alloy, dial through 5 torque settings up to 0.6 Newton meters, spinning at 270 RPM for quick, precise installs. All easily rechargeable via USB-C. Pair it with Fanttik's T1 Max soldering iron, cordless, heating in just 7 seconds, with precise control up to 840 degrees Fahrenheit for delicate PCB work. Fanttik's Big Prime Day sale is live. Get 35% off the E2 Ultra with code PCE2 Ultra or 35% off the T1 Max with code PCT1 Max. Links below. Let's jump straight to the sales. Obviously, Amazon Prime Day starts Tuesday, July 8th and ends on Friday, July 11th. That's the big sale, but everybody's got their sales as well. We've got Newegg Fanttik. Usually starts the day before and does again this time, Monday, July 7th, and they're gonna go all the way through Sunday the 13th. That's pretty big. Of course, Best Buy's also got their Black Friday and July sale. Same deal, basically. They're gonna start on Monday the 7th and they're gonna go through Sunday the 13th. And then we've got Walmart is gonna start their sale on Tuesday, July 8th, and they're gonna go all the way through Sunday. And they're increasingly a pretty good place to pick up GPUs, CPUs, and motherboards. Newegg's got a lot of really good deals right now, even before Amazon Prime Day. And so they're running this thing called price protection for Fanttik, which means that any of those items with that label, if it goes lower during the Fanttik sale, which goes all the way through the 13th, they will automatically refund you the difference on July 22nd. You don't even have to request it. Intel is going to throw a lot of free stuff at you if you please buy one of their CPUs. Check this out. This is crazy. They're not only going to give you 2 free games for getting a CPU, either Intel Core Ultra or 14 Gen. That's like all the way down to the budget 14400, which you're going to be shocked at the price in just a second of that CPU. They're going to give you Dying Light the Beast, which is the sequel to that, and they're going to give you Civ 7. They're going to give you both of them. But it doesn't stop there. Check this out. If you buy a Core Ultra CPU, obviously you need either a Z890 or B860 motherboard. They're going to give you Star Wars Outlaws for buying one of those, and they're going to give you a 6-month free subscription to Ubisoft Classic, so you can play all of those games as well. Well, Jason, what's the AMD software bundle? It's the big sad face emoji here because it does not exist. If they do decide to drop one at some point, I will leave it down in the pinned comment. Before we get into pricing, I do just want to highlight some of the crazy deals that Newegg has right now. They're all combo deals, and they're basically, not only do they start with the combos on the CPUs, but then you can combo them with motherboards, graphics cards, cases, power supplies, and you can get additional cost off. But let's start off with a really good one here for budget builders. Ryzen 5 7600X. Jason, $204. That doesn't seem that good. Well, it comes with a free 1TB NVMe SSD down here. The team right now, they've got the Team Group MP44L. Note, sometimes these will sell out and they'll switch the drive. Most of them have been fine as long as they're NVMe SSD drives. It's not an $80 value. They say it is, let's call it a $60 value because it's closer to what it is a budget NVMe SSD for 1TB. That basically makes this a $144 CPU. Of course, they also got great Intel CPUs on sale too, and you get that Intel spring deal that we just went through, $189 for the 14600K here. Not only do you get this, you get that same drive, the MP44L, and you get the Intel spring bundle. I mean, that makes this like a $120 CPU, and if you factor in the free games, any cost at all, it's almost like they're giving it away for free. Of course, they also have it on a higher end CPUs as well. The Ryzen 7800X3D, right now, good price at $369. And you get that free 1TB NVMe SSD drive. Again, it's the MP44L right now. For the Core Ultra 7, they're really going all out here. The CPUs are like $10 more expensive than it normally is, but you get a free 360mm all-in-one liquid cooler, the MSI Mag Core Hound A13 360 Black. Looks pretty good. I haven't checked it out in terms of reviews on it, but it's a free 360mm all-in-one liquid cooler. And of course, you get the 2 free games. And then when you buy the either B860 or Z890 motherboard, you get another free game and the Ubisoft Plus. And finally, even the Ryzen 9800X3D is getting into the mix here. You actually get a slightly better drive with this one. You get the Team Group T-Force G50. It's still just a budget NVMe SSD with 1 terabyte. But again, about a $60 value off $472. You're getting the CPU for about $415. Let's quickly go through Intel CPU pricing, then we'll jump into Ryzen. Basically for 12th gen, Intel continues to keep the prices low. The 12400 stays at $108, super cheap. $128 for the 12600K. Meanwhile, the 12600K, no real change there. But the big news is probably the i5 13400 and 14400 down around $120. The 14400 comes with 2 free games. It's almost like free basically. And then for the 14600K, $175. Basically, if you buy it without the bundle at Amazon, if you buy it with the bundle at Newegg, it's a little bit more expensive, but not that much more expensive. And then the pricing for the rest of these, relatively the same. I will say those Core Ultra CPU price cuts that they initiated back in May, they have continued to reduce the price. You can right now get the Core Ultra 7 265K for $285. Obviously, Newegg charges a little bit more, but you get the whole bundle with the liquid cooler as well. Moving over to Ryzen CPU pricing in July, you can see basically the 5000 series. Prices continue to float up for the 5000 series. Now, what often happens is around Prime Day, they will drop the CPU prices down to like $110, $120 again for the 5600. You can also look out for the 5800 XT out there. It's another one that they've dropped the price on, and it does come with a Wraith Prism cooler, the higher end cooler. So basically it's like a 5700X with its own cooler. I saw it last year for about $140, another one to keep an eye on. 5700 X3D continues to be crazy priced, basically cutting off any real upgrade path for Ryzen 5000 CPUs any longer AM4. But check this out, the Ryzen 7600X, you can pick it up right now for $170. But just before you freak out on that, the Ryzen 9600X is all the way down to $175, $5 more. I would definitely pick it up over the 7600 there. They have cut prices on especially like the 7800 X3D. That's definitely good to see, down to $369. In fact, we did see a flash sale on it for $349 just a couple days ago. So that's another one to keep your eye on for Prime Day if you don't want to just pick up one of those combo deals at Newegg. Obviously, the Newegg combo deal is probably just for the US and Canada. Let's jump into our best CPU to buy in July 2025 for production and gaming. And of course, I've actually made some small changes I want to let you know about. We have split the gaming and the production into 2 separate tabs in the spreadsheet. Remember, the spreadsheet is linked down in the video description. You can jump in there, because the way the spreadsheet works is that we put all the costs in of the entire platform, including the CPU, the RAM, the motherboard, the cooler. We come up with a platform cost, and then we basically divide that by its performance, and we get a price to performance for both gaming and for production. The production is now on a separate tab in here, so you can check that out. And again, you can jump in here, you can change the configurations, and you can put your own pricing in as well. Let's jump into the best budget gaming CPU in July 2025. So this is where the total platform price of everything is $450 or less. Now, check this out. Your job at the budget level, obviously, is to build the biggest, fastest gaming PC you can. So you want to get the fastest GPU you can, and then just get a CPU that's not going to bottleneck it. That's why normally I would say, look at that Ryzen 5600X, 5600, 5600 XT, any of those 4 CPUs out there, or 5600T, that's pretty good, but it no longer really has an upgrade path because the Ryzen 5700 XT has gone kind of silly price at $265. Meanwhile, AM5 CPUs and even LGA 1700 CPUs like the 14600K have gotten a lot cheaper out there with a similar performance. So I do like the i5 12400 here for $108. You pair that with 32 gigabytes of DDR4, 3200 CL16, about $50 right now for that, and a good B660 motherboard. I like the ASRock ProRS out there, or B760 motherboard. You can also just look at the Z series motherboards as well, because some of them are on fire sale at this point because that's an older platform. And in the future, you're going to dump a 13600K, 14600K, possibly a 14700K on it if you have a good enough VRMs on the motherboard there. The other one I would take a look at here is the i5 14400. 13400 obviously doesn't get the game bundle. 14400 does for the Intel Spring bundle for $119, $130. That is a great budget setup. Again, a $314 total platform price, and it comes with a stock cooler. It's just not adequate for it. I've also included money in there for like a budget tower air cooler as well. And again, DDR4 budget, same setup as the i5 12400. But you could also take a look if you get a big enough GPU, the Ryzen 9600X, look at that thing climbing the charts. The gap between the older, more budget platforms and AM5 has really shrank. It used to be over $200. Now it's like less than $150. So that 9600X, especially if you get that or the 7600X with that free SSD deal, those could be really, really good as long as you get a big enough GPU. Let's move over to mid-range production CPUs to buy in July 2025. This is where the multi-core score is 170 or greater and the price is $750 or less. And warning as always, this is based on Cinebench, so it makes the Core Ultra look quite a bit better than they actually are. So I'd probably take them down about a peg or two, but Intel with their core heavy architectures they did previously last year, they dominate this, especially if you're looking at the Core Ultra 7 265K. I'm not even taking into account all the free cooler and all that kind of stuff that you can get with the Newegg bundles and all the free games. This is with DDR5, 6000 CL30 RAM. Do not buy that expensive CUDIM stuff. Does not help performance. And then the Z890 and the B860 motherboard platform is actually quite good for creators. I was so excited about before we actually got the CPUs, but I was excited when I first saw the specs for those motherboards. As a creator, I was like, yo, 2 thumbs up on that. If you don't want to go Core Ultra, I think the 14600K makes a lot of sense, and it's only $485. Again, I would go DDR5 6000 CL30. I'd pick up a Z690 or Z790 motherboard and a mid-tower air cooler for $29 to $40 on that. And I think you're good to go, including on gaming as well. In terms of Ryzen systems out there, Ryzen struggles right now. I really think some of the CPUs need to get a little cheaper. Some of the higher end motherboards also don't feature match as well with like some of the higher end boards that you can get that are discounted right now for either LGA 1700 or, you know, the new Core Ultra series as well. But out of those, I would probably check out the 9900X. Moving over to the best mid-range gaming CPU to buy in July 2025. So this is where the gaming score is 125 or greater and the total price is $750 or less. And honestly, this just continues to be a bloodbath for Intel. Ryzen is just really just taking it home all the time. And now what we've basically got, because of the CPU price cuts, the 9600X has essentially, unless you get the combo deals, replaced the 7600X as kind of the CPU to grab right now at $175. You're going to get a 2x16 gigabyte kit of DDR5 6000 CL30 RAM that costs usually about anywhere from $88 up to about $102. You're going to get a budget B850 or B650 motherboard. Get yourself a budget tower air cooler for $20 and you are off to the races. And not just now, you're going to be able to power some of the higher end GPUs all the way up to, I'd say, the 5070 Ti and RX 9070 XT if you have to. And honestly, in a couple of years time, you're just going to drop in a 9800X 3D or you're going to drop in a 1100, whatever they call Zen 6 X 3D. Now, could you consider anything else here? Yeah, the 7800X 3D might make some sense, especially if once you go up to those higher end GPUs, but the cost is almost double for it. So that 9600X has so much value. You could consider the Intel CPUs here if you just hate Ryzen for some reason. The 14600K is not a bad value, especially if you figure in the extra games that you're going to get in there and you figure in maybe some of their combos as well. It's not a bad place to look with same Z690, Z790 motherboard, even a B-series motherboard that's DDR5, same RAM as the Ryzen, and a mid-tower cooler for $29 to $40. You'd probably be okay. You might be wondering, Jason, those amazing software bundles from Intel, how do I get those with a Core Ultra? Where's those CPUs? Well, unfortunately, they just don't perform very well in just gaming tests. You need to be doing at least hybrid work where you're doing a lot of production work and you're also gaming or you're mostly doing production work. Otherwise, even at the price cuts that they've seen, even with those software bundles, I don't know, maybe you throw in the free liquid cooler for the 265K and it jumps up to where the 9700X is, but still, that's not great basically. So those to me are still just mostly production or hybrid CPUs. Moving on to the best CPU to buy in July 2025 for high performance production. We'll get to high performance gaming in just a moment. The multi-core score here is 250 or greater. What we're seeing here is not that Ryzen is bad value and people probably freak out. What we're seeing here is the massive price cuts that Intel has applied on their CPUs, finally Intel, and also on the motherboards as well. The Z890 and especially the B860 motherboards are on fire sale, as are a lot of the older Z690, Z790 motherboards out there. And you can get 4 or 5 M.2s on some of these motherboards, and they're not that expensive. And the CPUs have gotten super duper cheap. The Ultra 7 265K at $285 is a great one to look at. Now again, the Cinebench score does inflate it, so you could pull it down, but the 14700K would be another good one to look at, especially if you're somebody who wants to build a system now and upgrade in 5 years when you skip the upgrade cycle for Ryzen anyway. But if you're somebody, no, Jason, I want the best now and I want to be able to upgrade, I would go 9950X or 9950X3D. Honestly, that's really, really good CPU. You're going to get upgradability to whatever Zen 6 is, and I've heard it's going to have a lot more cores on it, so possibly unlock even more performance in the future. And if you feel that way, grab one of those CPUs now. And here we are, the best CPU to buy in July 2025 for high performance gaming, where the gaming score is 145 or greater. And look at that, the 7800X3D, the old king is knocked off the new king. Crazy to see. Now, obviously, this was done through massive price cuts on the 7800X3D. It wasn't too long ago that the 7800X3D had the same price as the 9800X3D, so obviously you would have gotten the 9800X3D. I think what we're seeing now is a little bit of a choice for gamers out there. So for instance, at a 5070 Ti or a 9070 XT level, where you're really kind of trying to get away from maybe the Ryzen 9600X up to a higher performance gaming CPU, because your next stop up in terms of GPU power is $1,400, RTX 5080, yeah, maybe you're looking to invest a little bit more in your CPU here. The 7800X3D makes a lot of sense to do that. The 9800X3D obviously is the highest performance of all of them. So if you are going to do a 5090 rig, I think you're automatically on 9800X3D. What is going on with Intel? The Core Ultra series just can't compete for high-end gaming. They just don't have high enough performance out of their CPUs. We've waited long enough. Intel tried to fix it. They were unable to. They're fine for mid-range stuff. I don't want to denigrate them too much, but they just can't compete if once you get those high-end GPUs and you're looking to push a lot of frames and a lot of gaming power in them. Now, for these 9800X3D, 7800X3D systems, I've paired this with DDR5 6000 CL30. You could look at tighter timings on their CL28. It's only about another $10 or $15. Doesn't really help that much, but you can certainly do it. And then I've looked at like more kind of mid-range B850 type motherboards here. Obviously, a lot of you want to spend every last nickel you have on like an X870E motherboard. Not necessary, but you can if you want. And then I've gone mid-air cooler here. You obviously can go with liquid AIOs if you want. The rest of the CPUs here, 9950X3D, I mean, yes, if you are somebody who also does a lot of production work professionally, I would consider that. But honestly, the 9800X3D is strong enough on its own when you think about modern production tasks compared to something you would have bought 5 or 6 years ago, that I wouldn't even think about it if I was just an amateur, like regular person doing this work, even semi-pro on a lot of this stuff. And I want that gaming power as my number one thing, because the 9800X3D is just going to give me everything that I need. And I don't have to go the 9950X3D. It's no faster in gaming, really. So I would go that direction. But overall, these are your top choices right now. Let's play everyone's favorite game. Should you buy now or should you wait? Honestly, if you're in the United States, you should be buying now. These are amazing deals. If, of course, you are planning to build or upgrade or even thinking about building or upgrading this year, I would strongly recommend you do it right now. In fact, I would grab some of these Newegg deals. Now, if you're watching this after Prime Day and everything, I still think there will be good deals even afterwards. But I just want to caution you, if you live in the United States, I know some of you are like, well, I'm going to wait till GPU prices come out. I'm going to wait till this. Here's the problem. What happens on July 8th, not just Amazon Prime Day kicks off, but the 90-day tariff pause expires. So I just want to caution you, I have heard from retailers that they are basically burning through a massive glut of stock that they built up out there before the whole trade war started. So basically from January up until March, they built this up. We're burning through it, and this is what we're buying right now, and they're not quite sure what's going to happen, especially to the lower margin products, like lower end motherboards, like especially if you're a budget builder out there, you're looking for discounts, they could all go away, and prices could be quite a bit higher in the fall. Now, that may not come to pass. It may not come to pass. My crystal ball right now is as broken as anybody else's. I'm just saying, if you want certainty, these deals look really good in the face of uncertainty in the future that could drive prices up. So my strong advice for builders of all levels right now, take advantage of these deals if you're planning or thinking about upgrading. Remember, everything is linked down in the video description, including all those amazing combo deals we just went over. And if you got value out of this video, please give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel, especially this guy right here who's finally back in the studio. And of course, subscribe for more cool PC content. What kind of PC content did you check out? Our best GPU to buy for Prime Day. These are the best GPUs to take a look at for Prime Day, and even in July after Prime Day. Take a look at this, and we'll catch you on the next one.